This is Bizarre. Welcome to 10 ways to demotivate our tech employees. Today I'm going to talk about the cost of demotivation. Businesses target to maximize profits, and the basic equation is simple. On one side there are costs and they should be as low as possible, and on the other side there are earnings and they should be as high as possible. Reality is a bit more complex. Normally we don't know the exact effect of our actions on neither costs nor earnings. Most decision makers have developed a feeling for what is needed to maintain a balance between the size of the team and the number of projects it can handle, or the ratio between profitable legacy projects and promising future projects. The most important factor in most tech companies, both for costs and earnings, are the employees. And generations of ambitious managers have tried to optimize this factor. Surprisingly, the emotional state of the employees normally doesn't play a leading role in this analysis, although it has a huge impact. And of course, it's not an exact science, but today I would like to approximate this impact. Let us start with the easy part. Demotivated employees tend to resign much more often. What is the cost if a colleague resigns? Of course, in most cases we will try to retain our colleague. But once our colleague has emotionally separated her or himself from our organization, it's not sufficient any longer to solve the original problems. We will have to do more. We could, for example, offer a higher salary. Let us assume that this will increase our cost for this employee by 10 to 20%. If our retainment actions are not successful, we will have to spend effort on replacing our colleague. Then we will need a hiring team which sets up a job ad, does interview in several stages, selects a final candidate and negotiates the contract. Once a new colleague is hired, we will have the normal onboarding activities like setting up a user account, organizing equipment, or just introducing our new colleague to our organization. And furthermore, in most cases, our new colleague will not be able to produce value right away. The rest of the team will have to spend a lot of effort in bringing her or him up to speed. And normally it will take several months until a replacement is complete and our team is as productive as it used to be. I try to put all of these things together and estimate the impact of a replacement on our organization, and I came up with a number of 10 to 20 working weeks. That sounds a lot? Yes, it is a lot. This is almost half a year in which we have costs but don't produce any value. Some organizations have a turnover rate of 20%, and this means they bind 5 to 10% of their resources just on the replacement. This is quite a cost considering that it can be avoided to a certain degree. Some other aspects are a bit more difficult to estimate. Resignations also lead to loss of knowledge and loss of reputation, which is bad for customer relationships and makes it more difficult to find new employees. But when things really go sideways, we might also have to deal with lawsuits, and also lawsuits have their costs. How does motivation influence productivity? We can safely assume that motivated colleagues work more focused and process their tasks faster. Demotivated colleagues are sick more often, make more mistakes, contribute less to process improvement, and are less innovative. It depends on the character of the colleague, the type of activity, and of course on the level of demotivation. But a performance drop of 10% is very easy to achieve. Most really demotivated tech employees will be 50% less productive. And we should not forget that 100% is not the maximum drop possible. In very extreme cases, when demotivation gets destructive, productivity can become negative. While it is possible to at least grasp the dimension of higher costs and lower productivity, there are other aspects of demotivation which are impossible to quantify, but nonetheless have an effect on the success or failure of our organization. Demotivation has a negative influence on product quality. It negatively influences interactions with our customers. It might scare off potential investors. And also, if our organization generates fewer ideas which lead to fewer technology breakthroughs, competitiveness will suffer. My numbers are not based on thorough research, and even if they were, due to the large number of unknowns, it would be impossible to come up with a reliable final number. However, I would claim that we can double productivity if we stop disregarding the motivation of our employees. And even if this estimation was too high, and it was 20% instead of 100%, wouldn't it already be worth it? We might be lucky. Our competitors might be worse. And despite all the mistakes we make, although we could do better, we might still be very profitable. But we have to understand that on the long run, organizations which cannot keep their employees happy will lose, will fail. Maybe it doesn't affect you because you're able to do a good job even if the atmosphere is not that great. Maybe you don't have the power to trigger changes in our organization. And maybe you are just too busy. You don't have the capacity to do one more thing. But we should ask ourselves, aren't these really bad excuses? Knowing its huge impact, addressing motivation becomes a question of work ethics and honor. You as a leader need motivation as much as everybody else. And you will feel better when changes happen and you are part of it. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. The next chapter will be about demotivation by change.